Okay, so yesterday we did stuff like this, and then I would say, what's f of 3? And you'd go, okay, f of 3, you're telling me to stick 3 in here, and you'd get 3 minus 5 would be negative 2. Does that ring a bell? All right, the more complicated ones, I see in some headphones. I know I forget mine in too sometimes, but I take those headphones out, thank you. All right. The more complicated ones were like, what's 2f of 3? And all you have to do is figure out f of 3 and then stick it in there. F of 3 we just figured out came out to negative 2. So then this is negative 2. And then it's just this times this. All right. Well, that was it, putting in an input of 3 and getting an output of negative 2. What if I gave you this picture and I said, what's f of 3? Or what's f of 1? That's what we're doing today. I know you don't know how to do it, but honestly, you'll catch on really. It's really not that bad. It's not that bad at all. In fact, I think it's easier than yesterday's. All right, so watch. If I said, what's f of negative 2, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, did I just tell you the x? Or did I just tell you the y? And hint, this is called f of x for a reason, because the x is in that parentheses. So didn't I just tell you the x was negative 2? Yeah, I told you x was negative 2. And then you look on the graph and you look for x is negative 2, and then hopefully you remember that this is the x-axis. And so x is negative 2 is right there. You follow it to the graph, and you get this point right here. And remember, every point like that means that f of negative 2 is 2. See, this goes for the x, and this is the y. So if I said, what's f of negative 3? You should be just like, well, duh, it's 1. See, f of the x, which is negative 3, gives you the y, which is 1. So if you caught that the other day when I was saying that, like, f of 6 equals 7, that's the point 6 comma 7. Then you should be able to go backwards. And if I give you the point 6 comma 7, you should be able to go, oh, so f of 6 is 7. You see how every point can be written as a function? So if I give you the point 6, 7, you can say, oh, so f of x gives me the y. All right, let's make sure you really got that. Here's a point off to the side in the margin. Please write the point 8 comma 0. Tell me that as a function. Write it as a function. F of what? F of what? 8 is 0. F of 8 is 0. Okay, so do you get how this is x and this is the y? So if I give you this picture again and I say, hey, what's f of 1? F of 1. Well, there's a lot of 1s, but you got to find the one where x is 1. That's where x is 1. You follow it to the graph, and there's my point. And if you can just write what I just showed you, f of 1 is negative 2, you've got the answer. The answer is negative 2. F of 1 is negative 2. Does that make sense to you? All right. So I can either tell you x or I can tell you y. All right. This is getting a little messy. Let me clean it up a little bit here. So if I tell you f of x, that's the easy kind. If I tell you y, it'll look different. So again, telling you x looks like this. What's f of 3? But, and by the way, that one is weird because do you get there's an empty spot there? Technically, there is no answer there. I know it led us to that point, but it can't be that point. So there's no solution for f of 3. That's saying 3 exists, but the fact it's empty means it doesn't exist. There's no answer for f of 3. Okay. But if I said f of x is 2, do you get that's written different, and therefore I didn't give you x, I gave you y. That's where x goes. I didn't tell you x. That's where y goes. I told you y. Y is 2. So instead of looking here for your number, you look here for your number, and you go, here's where 2 is. You follow it over the graph. That's got a y of 2. And therefore I can say f of negative 2 is 2. Remember how I gave you that for the problem? I now realize that the x must be negative 2. The y was 2. And what I needed to find was the x. And the x was negative 2. All right, this page. This is just a reminder of yesterday's stuff. Make sure you've got this down. So answer those 3 questions. You can stay focused with me for another 15 minutes, maybe less. You're going to be done and you'll have work time. You can ask me questions then. Try these. Stay engaged. 15, maybe 10 more minutes. Sticking 5 into the f function. Sam, what'd you get when you put 5 in? 5 times 2 is 10 plus 9 is 19. Perfect. You put the 5 in right there. Nice. G of 2. Everybody stick in 2 in the G function. Nico, what'd you get? I'm sticking a 2 right here. I'm just checking you. I'm not saying you're wrong. And that part's 4 minus 8 plus 1. And that'd be negative 4 plus 1, negative 3. Very nice. Hello. All right, on to the third one. F of 5. Well, I already have f of 5. It's 19. Why do it again? It's 19. Cool. And then g of 2. Oh, I already have g of 2. It's negative 3. See? And then I just put the 19 when the minus 3. It's just 19 minus 3. And that's 16. All right. Then this is like the most difficult one we would have on the test. See if you can do 4 g of 2. Again, we already know g of 2. You already figured it out. Will Perry, what was g of 2? Negative 3. What was f of 5?
16.
I think f of 5 was 19. I could be wrong. There it is, 19. You were thinking of the last answer there. All right, 19. And then I just have to multiply stuff together. 4 times negative 3, negative 12. 2 times 19, 20, 38. And don't forget it was a minus. So minus 38. I think that's negative 50. Can anybody say they got negative 50 before I did? Nice. That's the hardest kind. If you're still not there yet, try to figure out what you're doing wrong. At the end, we had to do 4 times the negative 3 and 2 times the 19. I just taught you this one, and you should be able to do these, but I'll help you with the first one. F of 7, I told you x. See, that's where x goes. I said x is 7. So you go look where x is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I count out to 7. It's right there. And then I follow it up, and there's a dot right there. And that is the point 7 comma, and I encourage you to do this. Put the dot's name. It's 7 comma 3. So then f of this number 7 is this number 3. So f of 7 is 3. See? Every point is a function. Well, it's not really, but you can write it as a function. All right. If you got this, figure out f of negative 2. First question you ask yourself, did I tell you the x? Yes, I did. Henry Kist, what is the x here on this problem? This one right here. What's the x? What's the x, Henry? Were you doing something else? It's okay. I'll come back to you in a second. Sabrina, what's the x on this one? X is negative 2. So we're going to find x is negative 2. So here's where x is negative 1, and here's where x is negative 2, and there's the spot right there. That spot is negative 2 comma 0. It goes up 0. So negative 2 comma 0 means f of negative 2 is 0. So the answer to this one is 0. All right, f of 1. Grant, what's f of 1? Did I tell you x or y, Grant? Okay, and x is 1, so?
1.
All right, here's where x is 1. My question is, what's the answer to it? So help. All right, were you doing something else?
Yeah.
Okay, get back with me. I'll call on you again in a second and take that headphone out. That'll help. All right. Henry, are you back with me? F of 1. Here's 1. What's f of 1? It's right there. That spot. Can you count it out for me and figure out what that spot is? It's in your notes. You can do this. I know you can get it, but I got to get these guys to like try here. It's just counting how far this is. So Henry Kist, what is this point? F of 1 is what? That spot right there, Henry, is 1 comma what? I think it's 8. You're under a lot of pressure now, so I think it's 8. Anybody else verify 8? Okay. Then, what's f of 1? This little thing can be written as f of 1. There you go. All right. Now, Daniel Kurth, f of 7. And I already have it if you want to look up a little higher. You see it's in the problems up above here? What is it?
3.
Good, so that's 3. What's f of 1? We just did it.
8.
Yep, it's right there. And now I'm just supposed to do what? Right there.
Subtract.
Yep. Can you do that one in your head?
-5.
-5 is correct. All right. Moving on. Same exact process. I can tell this is not easy for you guys. Either that or I'm just getting really unlucky on the people I'm calling on. But that doesn't usually happen. So, give it your best shot. Figure out f of 0. Hint, I told you x is 0. And then whatever that answer comes out to be, times it by 2. So first figure out f of 0 and times it by 2. And then, before you move on, just that one problem, check with the kid next to you and see if you got the same thing. In these two rows, it's a person across from you, but some cases I gotta go diagonal. It's you two. Not you two, because he's taking the test. Diagonal, it's you two. You two, you three. Oh, he's taking the test, sorry. Just check on that first one. This row, it's super simple. People across from you. He doesn't have a partner, so Ben, make sure you compare with the guy diagonal. If you're wrong, it's okay. Just talk to them. All right. F of 0 meant x was 0. Here's the x-axis. X is 0 right there. So you follow it up to the graph and you get that point right there. That point right there, I get these ones that are on the axes can be a little confusing. That's 0, 2. 0, 2. Oh, it's 3. You're right. Dang, I couldn't count. Thank you. Correcting me early is the best way. Keeps me from going on too long. Nice job. 0, 3. Okay. So I just figured out f of 0. F of 0 is 3. You put the 3 here. 2 times 3 is 6. Who had 6? Raise your hand if you had 6. All right, good. Cool. This one, first you just figure out f of 6. And whatever it is, you add 10 to it. F of negative 6. Go to negative 6. 2, 3. I'm pretty sure that's negative 6. And then you go down, and that's your key point. And then I'd label it negative 6, comma, what is it? Negative 2. What are you guys talking about? Okay, come on up and set it on my desk. Put it on my keyboard, actually. All right, so I figured out f of negative 6. It's negative 2. So I put a negative 2 right there. And negative 2 plus the 10, 8. Who had 8 before I said it? All right. Bennett, figure out f of 5 for me. Take a second. When you got it, say it nice and loud. F of 5, he says it's 4. I'm going to check him. F of 5, you go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you go up here. I think he's right. 5 comma 4 is a point. So f of 5 is 4. Excellent. Zane, figure out f of 2 for me. It is, because that's 2 comma 3. F of 2 is 3. 4 minus 3, 1. It really helps me to get a feeling for if you're getting this or not. Did you, oh, question? Which part didn't you get? Ask.
No, I got it.
Okay. Did anybody have that before I had it? Awesome. Okay, I think you're getting this then. So, the only thing left is the table. It's the same kind of a thing. You're just on a hunt for a number, an answer. F of 5. Well, I bet you I could get a second grader to figure out that F is that, and therefore I don't want these. F is part of my answer, right? If I'm doing F of 5, I don't care about G of 5, I don't care about H of 5. F is that. That's not that hard. Okay. Now, which one is 5? But be careful. I know you're going to think it's this one, but that's f of x is 5. I want f of 5. So then that goes back to, did I tell you x when I said f of 5? Yes, I did. I told you x was 5. See, that's where x lives. X being 5 is this one. Because see, there's x is 5. So you got to see where they overlap. I got the f function here. And I got the 5 there. And I bet now you figured out the answer 7. F of 5 is 7. All right. I don't want it to go into these complicated ones yet. I want it to stay here for a little longer. I don't know what just happened there. I just took a screenshot by accident. Weird. Okay. So I want to park here for a little bit. What's f of negative 2? Say it if you know it. 5. Look at it, guys. F of negative 2. F, here's negative 2. It's 5. What's f of negative 10?
1.
See how easy these are? 1. All right. Just do a couple more. We got to change letters, of course. How about g of 0? Don't say it. Write it on your paper. G of 0 is what? G of 0 is, well, if you understand this, you'll know the answer. It's just a simple number answer. G of 0. Please compare with the kid next to you, and if they don't get it, show them where it is. G of 0. If you don't get it, ask them. Where is that? How do you get that? I love hearing some people explaining it. Thank you. Here's G. Here's 0. X is 0, see? And it's negative 1. G of 0 is negative 1. Let's do a couple more. These should go faster and faster as you get better at it. What's G of 5? G of 5. There's G. And here's 5, because this is X is 5, see? G of 5, negative 10. You getting this?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, this is just like two problems at once. First you figure out f of 0. It's not that hard to do. Then you figure out g of 2. That's not that hard to do. And all you got to do is add them. So figure out f of 0, write it down. Figure out g of negative 2, write it down. F of 0 was negative 3. G of negative 2 was 2. And negative 3 plus 2, negative 1. Who had negative 1 before I said it? All right. Good. Now, some of you, when you don't raise your, I think more people had it right than that, but it like really throws me off because like, if you're just sitting there quietly like, oh, I don't want to brag that I got it right, or I'm too cool to raise my hand, then it looks like too many people had it wrong. So maybe we should do another one. Please, if you get it right, say you got it right, because I could have been done there, but let's try this one. H of 0, find that answer. H of 0. And some people that are not good at this go, there it is, H of 0. But the thing you'll realize is like, well, there's no answer then. I mean, like, what's the answer if that's H of 0? And it's not H of 0. That isn't H of 0. H, and where X is 0 is right there. So you follow that across, and you get 13. So that was 13. Please finish that one. If this part's 13, then we subtract it from whatever f of negative 10 is. F of negative 10 was 1. 13 minus 1, 12. Right? I think so?
Yes.
Who had 12? Raise your hand if you had 12. All right. Now we're getting almost everybody. All right. Then the last one is different. And it's not incredibly hard. It's just different. Did I tell you X this time? Did I tell you X this time? No. Look. It doesn't tell me. It just says X. So I didn't tell you X. I told you f of x. This is the kind where you find f of x must be 5 somewhere. And f of x is 5 right there. But then where's the answer? Well, they didn't tell me x, so that's what they want. They want to know what is x? What is x equal to? So then you go over to the x column and you go, which one of these would have been it? -2. Now we got to do a couple more like that, and then I think everybody will believe you got this. What's g of 0 versus g of x is 8. They are two completely different problems. Can you figure out the answers to these two questions? G of 0, it's a crazy one. G of x is 8. Trickier. First, talk to the kid next to you about what's g of 0. Just talk to the kid next to you. What's g of 0 is the question. Yeah, that's what I got. All right, g of 0 was -1. G of x equals 8 is where you go, they did not tell me x. They told me g of x. G of x is 8 is there, but then what's the point? What's x? X is over there, -10. All right. Now, do you have to be a master of this yet? No. It's not like, I just gave you the first time you learned this, but it's a really critical 24 hours where hopefully you'll get this down. You do a little practice on the Schoology quiz and you'll get it down. But then, you don't get tested on this for days. You get to review it. I'll review this pretty much every day with you for several days, and then we'll take a test. So you don't have to feel like I have to be perfect right this second. If you already are, awesome. Nice work. All right. Right now, we're going to start that Schoology quiz. Can you show me if you're done with that? Start that Schoology quiz that is there. It's fairly short. I think one person's already done with it. That's fantastic. If that happens, though, you got to show me because, frankly, some kids will say they're done just so they can go play a video game. So, if you're done with it, awesome. How many questions? All right. All right. Nice job. Okay. Now, this is the part where, if you want to ask me individual help, you can. If you're in the middle of a test and you had a question you wanted to ask me, now's the time. And that's all I got for you for today.